Is this jigsaw any good? What's up guys, my name is Jason and this is Learn, Build, Repeat. Today we're going to be unboxing and reviewing this battery powered DeWalt XR Jigsaw. I've been currently using a Ryobi corded jigsaw in my shop and I'm going to be doing a comparison test to see if this is actually a good upgrade. So let's get to it.
All right, let's open this box up. Nothing left in the box. Manual. Oh, pretty simple packaging. There it is. First impressions are, pretty good. It's sturdy, like most of the DeWalt products I've owned. Yeah. Let me just take a look at it. What is going on there? Different types of settings and whatnot. Has a lockout switch, variable speed, but obviously the battery goes in there. This is a lever that does something that doesn't seem to do much. I'm assuming it will let this rotate. Maybe I should look at the manual first though. Or I'll just fiddle with it. Give me a sec. I'm assuming that's how you change the blade. Come on. Should just rotate. Oh, there we go. Okay, you gotta pull it forward. Honestly, not bad. I wish it kind of popped into the, 90-degree stops, 45-degree. It kind of does. You can kind of feel it. But maybe when I tighten it down. Okay, there you go. So you actually have to pull it back in order to get the, oh, there it is. There's the stops. There's the angle stops right there. You kind of have to pull it back into the slot in order to make it work. So, for example, you want to go to 45. You just lock it into place. Honestly, not bad. Not bad at all. It's not like super smooth to do it, but for $131, it's not bad. All right, let's put a battery in there. So this battery is fully charged. I just took it off the charger. Ooh, it's really responsive. Very responsive. And it's got an auto brake, which is nice. If I put the trigger on, push it up. Yeah, it's very responsive. All right, let's put the blade in. So this is a fast and clean wood blade. And that's it. It's as easy as pie. All you do is, to put a blade, is pull this thing out and it pops right out. You got a light in there. And this adjusts the angle of it. You can see that little lever, or that angle piece of metal right there. When the lever is all the way this way, this little thing pushes the blade forward a little bit. And when I go like that, it pulls it back a little bit. So we'll just choose somewhere in the middle. It's got no dust collection. That's something that's usually really important on tools that I look for. But honestly, it's a jigsaw. I don't use these things that much and they don't produce that much dust in the shop. So I don't really want dust collection. It would mean that you'd have like a cord or something, or like a hose here, which would kind of defeat the purpose of having a battery powered jigsaw, which is supposed to be very maneuverable. So let's test this out. I got a few different materials.
So before we get started and try cutting a few things, I just want to contrast that with this Ryobi jigsaw that I have. There's three main things that I've noticed just by looking at the comparison between these two tools. This one being the DeWalt and this one being the Ryobi, or the mechanism for like swapping out the blades is a lot more finicky. All you have is this little lever, like, if I can show it, like right there. All you do, holy shit. That really shot out. All you do is that, and then that's how you change the blade. It's a little bit more finicky, and it shoots a blade out if you're not paying attention, whereas the DeWalt seems a lot more stable. Another thing that really drives me nuts about this one is the way that you change the angle on the blade. So this one doesn't have like the stops at like 45 degrees or 90 degrees, which makes it super annoying to set up. Whereas this one, you have the 90 degree stops like right there, and the 45 degree stops that kind of lock into place, which is super handy. And the last thing that really drives me nuts about this thing is it starts slowly and it stops slowly. So when you're doing a lot of complicated things in the shop, you want things to happen really quickly. This thing is not that good. But it's also, I think I bought this thing for like 80 bucks like 2 years ago, so not bad. Okay, let's see how this cuts through. I got some pine, I got some 3/4 inch sanded ply, and I have this leftover piece of white oak that we can try cutting. So let's just do it and see what happens.
You know what, maybe I shouldn't freehand it. Where's my speed square? Okay, not bad. Okay, so one really important thing is how square these cuts are. Jigsaws are not typically that square, they're not precise saw at all. They're more for like cutting notches and whatnot. But let's put my machinist square on there. It doesn't look very square, but yeah, I don't know if you can see that, but not very square at all. Not very square at all. Let's try that again though. Give it another shot. Okay, that was a much cleaner cut. For some reason, you know, I think this might have been my fault. I think I didn't hold the speed square tight enough and it kind of cut the end. But it started off very square, which is perfect. It's exactly what we want to see. I did notice with the Ryobi when I was using it before, it wouldn't really do that. All right, let's try this again. This time I'm gonna hold this, I'm gonna clamp the speed square. Okay, so it's not bad. Definitely kind of wandered a little bit, but not bad. Okay, now let's compare this with the Ryobi. I do actually have the same blade on both. I actually did buy a bunch of DeWalt blades that I've been using on this thing. So it's exactly the same blade. And you can see that. That's one of the main issues I hate about this thing is it doesn't have an auto brake. It takes forever to stop. So let's do a few test cuts. So it's about the same. Honestly, it's about how you want to set it up. I noticed that it starts off square, but sometimes doesn't end square. But it is a jigsaw. I'm not expecting super square cuts. It does cut about the same speed too, but that's mostly because the blade is the same. That seems about right. All right, let's try and do a few notches because notches are a very common thing for jigsaws. One more thing I've noticed about the two jigsaws is you can see the opening for the actual saw blade. It's much smaller on the DeWalt. So you see, because this area is smaller, you have more room over on the sides as compared to the Ryobi. So that gives you a lot more surface area to control the DeWalt with. So really another plus for this thing. Very easy to control. And just like that, we have a little notch. So I did kind of mess that up actually, but honestly it works pretty good. About the right quality I was expecting. So after that, let's try and move on to the plywood. So first I'm just gonna kind of strip off of it, see how it works. Oh yeah, just like butter. Easy. All right, now let's try and do like a curve, like maybe like an arch. Oh yeah, super easy. Yeah, this thing's pretty nice. Yeah, no issues with that. I mean, I just freehanded it, so it's not perfect arch, but yeah, not bad. Okay, and this is the last thing I want to try. It's white oak, and this is by far the hardest wood I own. And this is by far the hardest wood I generally work with. So I'm kind of curious to see how it's actually gonna handle it. Not bad. Definitely is slower. Definitely a lot slower going through a hardwood than it is a softwood, but that's obvious. Yeah, pretty good. Okay.
All right, for the next test, let's do a 45-degree cut on this white oak to see how it handles it. It's probably the toughest cut, I think, for it. So to do that, all you do is you pull this lever, like so, pull this, or push it forward, and then just turn it. And then put the lever back. All right, 45-degree cut test. Okay, so two things happened. One, I didn't clamp this well enough, but two, as you can see there, it didn't actually go all the way through. But it honestly is pretty clean cut for not going all the way through. I'm kind of surprised. Let's try again on pine. All right, I've reclamped everything so it's a little bit more secure. And I'm actually cutting the 45-degree angle the other way, but it really doesn't matter because it's a test. Which also means I can more securely clamp the speed score down. Frankly, I should have done this in the first test, but whatever. So there you have it. There's the 45-degree cut. Honestly, pretty good. Let's check if it's actually 45 degrees. Let me grab my bevel. So that's 45-degree angle right there. Yeah, so it's not quite 45 degrees. It's a tiny bit off, if you can see that. I'm not sure if you can. But, I mean, it is a jigsaw, and I probably will never use it for a 45-degree cut. Mostly what I'll be using it for is doing like, you know, little cutouts whenever I make a bench or something of plywood or some other 3/4 inch wood. Okay, and there you have it. That's my unboxing and review of a $131 DeWalt battery-powered XR Jigsaw. It's a big step up from the Ryobi one I was using because it is a lot faster to start, a lot faster to stop, and has the actual 90-degree and 45-degree stops. In addition to that, it has a lot more surface area at this end to give you a lot more control over how you actually are doing the cuts. One thing that's a big negative that I've realized while using this is this right here. So you see how it kind of like starts out really thin and then kind of flares out right there? Well, unfortunately, so let's say you're doing a cut on this pine board and you're using some sort of straight edge to start your cut. So unfortunately, when you start, you can kind of tell that the straight edge is gonna line up with the thinner part. But then as you push onto it, it's gonna move everything over, which just completely messes up your cut. I suspect I could probably remove this. Yeah, okay, so I can remove this. This is a plastic part that you could probably buy different kind of variations on this for. But it's kind of unfortunate that this is the factory one that came with. I would think that they would just have to have like a straight, like right here, this little area be straight. Right where I'm pointing, this should be straight. But unfortunately it isn't. I probably can buy another one, so it's not that big of a deal, but something to be aware of. So overall, I think it is a great addition to the shop. It's going to be dramatically better than the Ryobi Jigsaw that I frankly don't like to use at all. And because I'm mostly using it for cutting notches or whatever, this little issue with the flare here is not that big of a deal for me. So, you know, I would say it's a solid tool. DeWalt is usually pretty solid after all. And I look forward to many more projects with it. And by the way, if you want to see how far this thing can shoot its blade, check this out. Let's see if I got it. All right, for some reason that time I didn't really shoot the blade. Anyway, I'm gonna throw this thing out. You know, I probably should sell it on Facebook Marketplace, but I mean, sometimes just dealing with people for like a $20 tool is just not worth it. Anyway, if you guys like this content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.